Well, I didn't really know what to do with this request, so I know you're snooker loopy nuts, so here we go. I might as well, rather than just talking, I might as well try and sing it. So, snooker loopy nuts are we, me and him and them and me. We'll show you what we can do with a load of balls and a snooker cue. Pot the red then screw back for the yellow, green, brown, blue, pink and black. Snooker loopy nuts are we. We're all snooker loopy. Bum 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 bum.
Hello and welcome to another day of our daily Crucible updates. My name is Tom Mayhew and I'm here joined by my very good friend. It's Joe on fire Hannard.
Well, good evening Hazel, good evening Tom, good evening everybody at home. Pleasure to be here and pleasure to be thoroughly extinguished by your wonderful nickname today. So there you go. On fire, Stephen Maguire, who I'll get to go and see on Saturday. I'm looking forward to that, actually, seeing Murphy and Maguire. I'm very, very excited for that one. And hopefully seeing Tom Ford beat Judd Trump.
This does feel like a thing we can throw out to the listener. If anyone has a nickname for Joe that can rhyme with Hannard, so it can be like On Fire Maguire. Because at the moment, I've just got, he's well hard. It's Joe Hannard, which is probably not what you want.
Well, yeah. You don't want He's Well Hard Joe Hannard coming out before the Ford Escort, do you? Really?
We've already had Chinny say he'll be disappointed if you do not shout out Escort. And we had another comment from someone just putting ESCORT. We've had two comments.
Yes, but how do you know that wasn't a porn bot, Tom, that lurks around on your channel, eh?
We will take all the views we can get. I'm perfectly happy with porn bots. If they want to comment and it's relevant, why not? Why not?
Absolutely. But no, great to see Chinny in the comments. I mean, obviously, me and Tom and Chinny go way back, but all the way back to the virtual World Snooker Championships, which was 4 years ago, would you believe, Tom? 4 years ago since that championship.
I can't believe it. I can't believe how long ago that was. That feels absolutely crazy to me. It feels like it was just last year.
But actually seeing Chinny do some practice routines on his channel as well. I mean, he seems to be in good nick. I think he's getting ready for Q School. So maybe we'll have Mike Chin on one of our teams this year. Who knows?
Chinny, if you enter, we will fight to the death to see who gets to pick you on our team. But I mean, surely he can enter. I reckon Chinny can win. I believe
in Chinny. But no, great to see Chinny in the comments. And please, just in general, keep your comments coming. We've had tweets, we've had lovely comments. We even had a share on X today, about the Snooker Loopy podcast. So do keep it coming. We really do appreciate it. And I know Tom always snip and tools me some comments to send on, and it's just great seeing those messages come through. So thank you very much for your support, and we are absolutely loving doing this, and it's been a great championship so far, Tom.
It's been fantastic, and we are perilously close to your prediction of half of the seeds going out coming true. And remember, Joe, I'm going to say you heard it here first. You might have not heard it here first, but for me, you heard it here first. Joe predicted it, that over half the seeds would go out. And at the moment, obviously today, Mark Williams has gone out. Last night, Gary Wilson went out.
And I think those are two of the biggest shocks in the tournament so far. I mean, Gary Wilson, I put an each-way bet on him winning the whole thing, because I genuinely thought he had such a good season. He got to the semi-final of the Tour Championship. He played really well against Ronnie, and then obviously Ronnie's genius in the end got him over the line. Yeah, I was really shocked at how poorly he played, and he almost just gave up in the end. It was really disappointing to see, actually, from Gary Wilson, considering he's had his best ever season. I don't think Bingham played him off the table. Bingham was good. Certainly last night he had a bit of a wobble as well. That got back to 6-5 at one point, I think. And I was very disappointed in Gary Wilson at the end of the match. He just sort of, smacking the balls about a bit. It just felt very petty, in my opinion.
Well, it's similar to what you said about Ali Carter, in that when he got in his head, okay, the match is gone, he just wanted to finish it. Like Virgo said on commentary, it looks like Wilson just wants to get out of it, and that's kind of what I felt. I genuinely thought he was going to concede the final frame after the first four shots. It felt like that kind of atmosphere. Yeah. he just seemed resigned to losing. I hope he doesn't let the World Championship overshadow his season, because he's had such a good year, such a good season.
Absolutely, and you've just got to look at the Dave Gilbert match, even the Mark Williams match. Dave Gilbert was 9-6 behind against Luca Brissell, won the last 4 frames to win 10-9. Mark Williams was 8-5 down, brought it back to 9-all. Could well have won it had he potted the red early in the deciding frame. But, that's the thing about snooker. You should never, ever give up until the last black has gone down, essentially, because you never know what's going to happen. I'd understand if it was 3 or 4 snookers that was needed, getting out of there. But it was like Brissell the other night. 1 snooker was required and he conceded straight away. Completely bizarre for me in terms of some of the players and their attitude to not giving up. And I think that's something over the years that the likes of Mark Selby have just epitomised, that never say die attitude. And I think that's been lacking a little bit in some of the sort of better known players. It's not surprising actually that the qualifiers are coming through. And I think there's more to come. There's definitely more to come. I mean, Rob Milkins is in a ding-dong battle with Pang Jung-soo tonight. I know we both backed Pang to get through that one, and yeah, it's very dicey. But Rob Milkins did well to come from 3-0 down to level that match. I mean, it was 5-4 at the start of the evening session, and obviously we'll round up that match into tomorrow's episode. Yeah, it's just interesting times, I think, and it shows how strong the qualifiers have been to this tournament.
A few players, whether it's like fatigue at the end of a season or whether they're just tired or they just are struggling with the pressure, but a few of the seeds haven't quite felt, on it, like you say. Whereas Mark Williams, I think his potting wasn't on it, his general play wasn't on it, but he scrapped to the death. He was doing everything he could. They said on punditry that he'd thrown everything at sea, and he really had. He was doing everything, because I think Mark knew that, as we say about a few players, if you get through the first round, Mark was good enough to get to at least the semis the way he's been playing, and Mark knew that, and he was really fighting to get back into that match with C, even though he didn't play brilliantly. There were points where he was sort of sarcastically patting himself on the shoulder to go, well done mate, we potted one for once. He was kind of being a bit self-deprecating, having a laugh like that, and it was a tough match for both players. Obviously C played very well, Mark wasn't at his best, and that was enough for C to get through. Yeah,
and take nothing away from C, he played awesome, and he is a real talent. It's a shame that he's not really done a lot this season. He obviously got the final of the German Masters, but other than that, he's not really backed up his strong performance at the Crucible. But he is number 23 in the world now, another strong run at the World Championship, and he could find himself in the top 16 by the end of the season. So fingers crossed for him, considering he was world ranked number 80 at the start of last year's World Championship. He's come on leaps and bounds, and he's still a very young player. I think what impresses me the most is his cue ball control. In that final frame against Mark, he never looked like missing, because he kept getting himself into brilliant positions. There was one moment where he sort of flicked off a red and had a tricky red to the middle. Dennis thought he'd missed it, but it just wriggled in, and that was the one time that he felt a little bit out of position. Great player, C, and we've got the roundup that we talked about in our preview of 2 impressive debutants from last year squaring off in round 2.
Yeah, incredible, thinking that one of them will get to at least the quarterfinals again, and guaranteed that both of them, if they qualify next year, will be known as Crucible specialists, just because they've done really well in their first 2 tournaments, which they have. They've done brilliantly, and it's not easy to win a match at the Crucible. It's the reality that if C wins in the quarterfinal, he would have won more matches at the Crucible than Luca Brissell, which is mad.
That's a cracking stat. C would be on course to play Judd Trump in the quarterfinals if everybody sort of won their seeded match. I'm sort of counting C as the seed of that round 2 match, and that would be a very, very interesting battle. I know, obviously, C got the semis last year, almost beat Luca Brissell. Don't know how he didn't in the semi-final. Was 14-5 up, of course. But I think Judd Trump is a very different prospect. Now, I thought Mark Williams was a very different prospect, if I'm honest with you. And he managed to come over the line 10-9. I think that puts into perspective Sean Murphy's performance last year in round one, when Sean Murphy was winning everything at that point. So to be able to stop Murphy, he's stopped Williams. It continues the Tour Championship curse as well, by the way, of never having a Tour champion win the Worlds after it. So yeah, that would be an exciting match, wouldn't it, against Trump in the quarterfinals, if that's how it played out.
There was a nice bit talking about him beating Sean Murphy last year. There was a nice moment when, because Murphy was doing punditry on it, and they kind of said to Sean, because C's been in this position before, and of course he beat a seed last year, and Sean went, oh yeah, thanks for reminding me. And they all had a bit of a laugh, and it was quite nice, and Dennis went, oh, a lovely bit of conversation there in the studio.
Yes, lovely bit of banter, or flanter, should I call it? But no, it was a good match, and I think possibly the match of the round so far. Obviously, the Gilbert Brissell match was pretty special as well, and maybe not the performance of the round so far, because I think Joe O'Connor still gets that for his performance over Mark Selby. We haven't even talked about Bingham too much yet. I know we talked about Gary Wilson, but well done to Stuart Bingham getting through to the second round once again, and continuing what he did last year. Of course, he got the second round last year where he went out to Mark Allen, so I know you'll be chuffed about that one.
Yeah, it felt like he found a little bit of that Bingham magic again, and he was playing very, very well. He was composed, he was confident, he seemed like he kind of had that aura, do you know what I mean? That thing of, I know what I'm doing, I can win here. And he played like a seed, which was really lovely to see, because he's not played like that all season. He looks in good nick to put up a fight in the next round, whoever he plays. I think he'll fancy his chances, because again he's got nothing to lose now. He's already got 30 grand in the bank. He's not worried about a top 16 position. The pressure's kind of off him. He's very weird to say for an ex-world champion that he's under the radar, but he is. He's massively under the radar, which he was in 2015. Maybe that suits him. Maybe it'll help him go on a good run.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it doesn't get any easier for him, because he'll be taking on Ding Junhui or Jack Lazowski in round two, and that's been a cracking match so far by all accounts. Didn't see any of it, but it is 5-4 to Jack Lazowski. And, we called that potentially being the draw of the round, and potentially it will be. And, Jack Lazowski, I think, again, is a player that could well go under the radar. So it would be an interesting mix of him versus Bingham in the second round. One of them possibly getting to the quarterfinals. But Ding equally, I think, would go under the radar. Nobody's talking about Ding as a serious contender. So I think because of the amount of seeds that have been knocked out, and big seeds like Williams and Selby, even Gary Wilson, Ali Carter, of course, Brissell, lots of dangerous players are out of the draw, and players like Ding, players like Lazowski, players like Bingham, they'll fancy their chances of progressing a bit further. Yeah,
and I think it would be nice to have a bit of a surprise final, which we might not. It could still be Ronnie against maybe Higgins or something like that. Something like that could still end up, I think. But it feels like for a long time, all of the finals have had either Mark Selby or one of the class of 92, or both. But with Selby and Williams going out, it might be the first time in probably about 10 years where that's, apart from, I think the last occasion was Bingham against Murphy, when that didn't happen. So it would be about 9 years since that has happened. It's all probably on Ronnie, really, to hold that up, because I'm not too sure if Higgins can do it now. He's not played brilliantly, and so it might all be on Ronnie. Otherwise, it'll be no Selby, no class of 92 in the final for the first time since 2015. Well, yeah, and before that, I think it would be 2010 with Neil Robertson and Graham Dott, and then Graham Dort.
Before that, would that be 2006 with Graham Dort and Peter Ebdon? So, it doesn't happen very often, a lack of Mark Selby or class of 92 in the final. So, let's cherish it. I mean, I think I opened the preview podcast with, I think it's the most open World Championship we've had for years, even though 2 players have dominated the season. So that statement is being proven true. Obviously, we've still got the second round quarterfinal to really sort of filter out a lot of the players, and it's all building up to be a very interesting event. And I'll tell you one player that'll be very happy with what's going on is Ronnie himself. Obviously, he wants to get to 8 titles this season. I think he'd rather not have to play Selby, Williams, Trump, and he would rather float through the draw against a Jackson Page, Barry Hawkins, for instance, in the last 16, a Si Jawi type character in the semi-final. I don't know who he would be due to play in the quarterfinals, possibly Bingham or Jack Lazowski. It's starting to really open up for Ronnie now, other than Trump on that side of the draw. So, we could well be witnessing history, but it wouldn't be the Snooker Loopy podcast if we didn't mention a certain player who returned to the Crucible for the first time in a decade today, and that man is Dominic Dale. And it wasn't necessarily his happiest hour at the Crucible, was it?
No, it was tough going for poor old Spaceman. He had a lovely intro of Rob Walker, again going on about Dominic Dale's girlfriend and his love life, and I'm not sure whether this is new or whether it just feels like it's more blatant or less subtle at the moment, but it feels like Rob more and more is using the player introductions to go, I've got a bit of comedy material I want to try out here, and to try and put his own funny spin on it. He's got Tom Ford, he looks like me and he's really handsome. He's got Mark Williams, he kind of goes, this guy looks like an old man. He always says something about his age. And now he started saying about Dominic Dale going on about his girlfriend and getting big laughs from the crowd. And is that new? Has he always been basically pitching to do a comedy tour?
Yeah. Maybe he has been. Maybe we've all been brainwashed, Tom, and we're just conditioned now to laugh at his jokes. Perhaps that's it.
But yeah, Dale came out and didn't have the best session. I mean, 8-1 down or 7-1 down? No, 8-1. God.
8-1, yeah.
Yeah, not looking good for Dale. And I mean, it's tricky, really, because you wouldn't have expected deep down to win.
No.
Even though he had a great season, I don't think you'd expect to qualify for the first time in 10 years and go on a run, but you would be disappointed to lose that heavily. He did get a century, Dale, and he has got to play at the Crucible again, so hopefully, unless he mounts the biggest comeback in Crucible history, it looks like that'll be it for Dale. But it is his best season in like over a decade, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, similar to Gary Wilson, I hope he doesn't get too frustrated by his World Championship result. I mean, I don't think Dale will because it's Dominic Dale, but it's like he's had a fantastic season. Like, he was supposed to retire about 2 years ago. He thought he was going to drop off tour. He's kept going. He's worked his way back up. He's back at the Crucible, and we love the Space Sausage. So, I mean, if he does the biggest comeback of all time, I will get a Space Sausage tattoo.
What if he wins the match against Kyron?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm not promising anything like that, but you're more than welcome.
Joe will get a Space Sausage tattoo if Kyron wins. So there we go.
No, he won't. But Kyron 8-1 up. Good to see Kyron back in form because he's done nothing this season. And similarly, we've got Mark Allen 7-2 up against Robbie Williams. So looking like he's going to progress through to the next round as well. So some of the top players are making it through, but of course on Wednesday we are seeing the start of Ronnie O'Sullivan's campaign. We are also seeing the start of John Higgins tomorrow as well, so lots of exciting matches to come through. Barry Hawkins, I believe, has started this evening, so lots more Crucible contenders coming into the fray over the next couple of days. Yeah, very, very interesting so far. Let us know down in the comments your biggest surprises and, yeah, whether you are enjoying the tournament. What's your highlight so far? Yeah, anything to add on our roundup for the previous day's play?
Not especially. There was one bit where Mark Williams was making a clearance at the end of the break, and he hit the black ball so hard it jumped off the table.
Oh, yeah.
And came flying towards the camera.
I thought it had went into the crowd.
Genuinely, Dennis was going, oh, is anybody hurt? And I was like, oh my God, has Mark Williams accidentally knocked someone out?
Is anybody hurt down there?
Hazel,
get down.
He jumps in front of her to protect her.
Yeah. And rest in peace, Dennis. There you go.
We start with a man making an extraordinary return to the Crucible for the first time in a decade when he reached his second quarter-final. The oldest player here since Steve Davis in 2010. This 52-year-old Welsh Romeo has found a French Juliet. And since the arrival of his new girlfriend, he's like a player reborn. Love is in the air for the spaceman, Dominic Dale.
Shall we cue the laughter, Tom?
Yes, and today's Cue the Laughter. Yesterday, it was me and I brought along Dennis Taylor giggling at Stan Boardman struggling to get an umbrella out of his golf bag. And today, Joe, you've provided the Cue the Laughter. Will it be Dennis struggling to get an umbrella out of a golf bag?
No, it won't. I thought, well, since I'm going to the Crucible on Saturday, I thought, what did I get from my first visit to the Crucible back in 2011? And well, I got a key ring, which was a set of triangle, a triangle of red balls, which I've still got somewhere. I didn't think that would really cut it for the memorabilia part of the podcast, so I thought I would bring along my 2011 World Snooker Championship programme. And I thought we could have a little delve into some of the things inside this wonderful magazine. I guess it was £5 at the time. I think they're something like £12 now, these programmes, and that's inflation for you. But I get them free with my premium ticket on Saturday, just flexing it there. But interestingly, it has little bits and pieces about all of the qualifiers. It even has the qualifying results in here. So there's little snippets of information about Stuart Bingham back in 2011, even Stephen Lee. Judd Trump, of course, reached the final in 2011, but we certainly weren't expecting that back then. Barry Hawkins was a qualifier back then. Dominic Dale himself, who I seen against Ronnie O'Sullivan. Dave Harold is in there. And Andrew Paget. So there you go. But I wanted to test your knowledge, Tom, and see how many of the top 16 you could name from the 2011 World Championship draw. Now, to give you a bit of a hint, there are 8 of the top 16 that are currently in the top 16 in 2024. So I have got a spreadsheet up ready for you to let us know how many you can name.
Okay, and if listeners want to play along at home, pause the podcast now, type in your guesses below on the YouTube video, or tweet them to us, and you can play as well. But I will go. I mean, the first guess, Ronnie O'Sullivan, it has to be him.
Yes, Ronnie O'Sullivan is on the list.
Neil Robertson
is on the list.
Shaun Murphy
is on the list.
John Higgins
is on the list. Just to give a bit of context, by the way, just to pause here, give you a bit more thinking time. Ronnie O'Sullivan was the 10th seed back in 2011. Neil Robertson was obviously top seed as the defending champion. Higgins was number 2 seed as the world number 1. And Shaun Murphy was the number 7 seed.
Mark Selby?
Correct. Number 4.
2011. Ooh. Jamie Cope.
Yes, very good. Number 14. You have got some easier ones to go for before you need to risk the likes of Jamie Cope.
How many have I got so far?
You have got 6 so far, of which 4 are currently in the top 16. So there's still 4 more current top 16 members that you haven't got yet.
When did Willow drop out? That's what I'm trying to... I'm going to go with Mark Williams. I'm going to go with it.
Yes, Mark Williams had a resurgence that season. He had dropped out of the top 16 2007, sort of around then, up towards 2009, but did reach the UK Championship final in 2010, was back to world number 1 at that point, I believe, but he was the number 3 seed for that tournament. I think it was the semi-finals against him and John Higgins, and I think it went 17-14 or something that year. Just random bit of knowledge, but yeah, well done.
Barry Hawkins
is not on the list. He was a qualifier that year.
No! Oh, I feel like I've just lost Tenable. It's like a game show. You should host game shows, Joe. This is brilliant.
Yes, yeah. We'll give you a couple of lives. We'll let you have three mistakes until you're out. So there's 1 strike.
And how many have I got so far?
You have currently got 7 out of 16.
Mark Allen.
Mark Allen is on the list, number 11.
So have I got all the ones who are currently top 16?
No, there is still 2 members of the top 16 that you haven't got.
I don't think it's not going to be Brissell. He'd be about 12, so it wouldn't be here. Ding Junhui.
He didn't make his debut till 2013. Ding Junhui is number 5, yeah. There are 3 world champions that you have not mentioned yet.
Peter Ebdon.
Correct, number 12.
Graham Dott.
Correct, number 9.
Graham Dott.
Graham Dott.
There's not even been that many world champions, has there? Bonnie, Mark, Willow, Dott, Selby, Ebdon, Robertson. I've said Robertson. Steve Davis?
No, unlucky. So you got 1 more strike. 1 more strike. Now, Davis did reach the quarter-final in 2010. I think he was ranked about 22 in 2011. Didn't qualify.
Who's the other world champion? Who's the other world champion? It's not Joe Johnson.
It's not.
Everlasting top 16. What about... God, who's the world... Why can't I remember who this world champion... Ken. Crofty Ken.
Unlucky. You are striked out. Let's just get this moment and all laugh at Tom because he forgot the most obvious world champion of them all, King of the Crucible, Stephen Hendry.
Oh, Christ alive. I forgot he used to play snooker.
He calls himself a snooker fan.
Oh.
That reminds me, Tom, of something at the Tour Championship. Speaking of Stephen Hendry, just after the mid-session interval, I was walking alongside Stephen Hendry. Didn't realise he was right next to me, but he was there, and somebody went, "Oh, can we have a photo, Stephen?" And they went, "Did you used to be a snooker player?" Fair to say, Stephen Hendry wasn't very pleased with that.
I'm not the only person who forgot he... because I just think, in my head, Hendry, 90s. I don't think of him as still being about then. Oh. So,
you got 11 out of the 16. The ones that you missed, in fact, 3 of them were playing at this year's Crucible. Stephen Maguire was number 6 that year. Ali Carter was number 8 that year. Stephen Hendry, as we've mentioned. Ricky Walden, number 15. And Marco Fu, number 16. So there you go. But I think you did pretty well there. So I am going to read out the list of qualifiers for that year's World Championship, and you can pick 3 for me to read the blurb of. Okay, so Stuart Bingham, Matthew Stevens, Mark King, Ryan Day, Stephen Lee, Judd Trump, Barry Hawkins, Martin Gould, Joe Perry, Dominic Dale, Marcus Campbell, Rory McLeod, Jamie Burnett, Dave Harold, Jimmy Robertson, and Andrew Paget.
Dave Harold.
Okay, so I'll read his now while you decide on the other ones. So, world ranking 54, age 44, lives in Stoke, Crucible best, quarter-final 1996. Considered one of snooker's grittiest opponents, Harold reached the quarter-finals at the Crucible in 1996. He beat Neil Foulds and Rod Lawler before losing to Nigel Bond. In 1993, he joined the list of players to have won ranking titles by capturing the Asian Open crown in Bangkok, beating Darren Morgan 9-3 in the final. Harold also reached the final of the 1994 Grand Prix and 2008 Northern Ireland Trophy. Steve Davis once described playing Harold as like having all your teeth pulled out with no anaesthetic, and I mean that as a compliment.
Wow, what a quote that is to have.
There you go.
Let's do the other two. Let's do Dominic Dale and... Was Marcus Campbell one of them?
Yes, he was, yeah. Okay.
Let's do him.
Which one do you want first? Do you want Dominic or Marcus?
Marcus.
Okay. So, Marcus Campbell, world ranking 28, age 38, lives Dumbarton, Crucible best, first round 2001 and 2010. This is Campbell's third appearance at the Crucible. He lost to Anthony Hamilton in the first round in 2004 and to Mark Williams last year. The Scot has found the best form of his career this season, winning an event on the Players' Tour Championship series and climbing into the world's top 32 for the first time. Campbell was responsible for arguably the most shocking scoreline in snooker history as he beat Stephen Hendry 9-0 at the 1998 UK Championship. He also beat Hendry in reaching the quarterfinals of the Scottish Open in the same year. There you go, good old Marcus,
Beautiful.
who of course I think Ronnie played in the first round when he took a year out and he played Marcus Campbell in his first match back, I believe. But anyway, Dominic Dale, world ranking 33, age 39, lives Vienna, Crucible best, quarterfinals 2000. Right, anyway.
We've gone from Dumbarton to Vienna.
As you do. And can I just show you the picture of Dominic Dale?
He looks like a Bond
Do you not
villain.
think he does? I was going to say, do you not think he looks like some sort of Victorian villain? Thug. He's just a thug. Dale is appearing at the Crucible for the first time since 2004. He suffered several close defeats in the qualifiers, but finally made it by beating Michael Holt 10-6. The Welshman's best run here came in 2000 when he beat Peter Ebdon 10-6, then hammered David Gray 13-1 before losing in the quarterfinals to Joe Swale. Dale is the only player to have won 2 ranking events but never feature among the top 16 of the world rankings. He beat John Higgins to win the 1997 Grand Prix and Ryan Day at the 2007 Raw Shanghai Masters. There you go.
And how old were you when you first went to the Crucible?
So I would have been, I think, 13, I think.
And did you think at the age of 13, 13 years in the future, I'll be rereading this programme on the podcast?
Well, I mean, I didn't, to be honest with you. But I've kept it in good condition. It's been on my bookshelf the whole time, so there you go. I mean, ask the experts. Do you want to hear who the experts are, apparently? Phil Studd, Phil Yates, David Hendon, and then Hector Nuns, Neil Golden, and Michael McMullen. So, who's going to win it? So, Phil Yates backed Mark Williams, Dave Hendon backed Mark Williams, Phil Studd backed Mark Selby, Hector Nuns backed Ding Junhui, Neil Golden backed Ding Junhui, and Michael McMullen backed Mark Selby. So, nobody got it right. Who will be the surprise
Useless.
package? Phil Yates. Phil Yates said Martin Gould. David Hendon said Martin Gould. What will be the shock of the opening round? Phil Yates, Stuart Bingham to beat Peter Ebdon, as apparently the big shock of the round. And Dave Hendon, Judd Trump to beat Neil Robertson, which actually was the case, of course. Will there be a 147? Phil Yates says yes. David Hendon says, no.
Cheers for that, Phil Yates.
Who will make the worst fashion mistake? Phil Yates says, Dominic Dale. Biggest certainty of the championship. David Hendon says, Dominic Dale. Philip Studd says, Dominic Dale. If Dominic does shock Ronnie, he'll be in the tournament long enough to muster up a fashion disaster or two. Hector Nuns, Dominic Dale has a great shout in this category. Neil Goulding, Dominic Dale. He's not called the Spaceman for nothing. One of snooker's most colourful and eccentric characters. Michael McMullen, though, was bang on the money. Judd Trump seems to go in for that sort of thing, so he's probably favourite. Oh, cracker. Absolute cracker. But it's just I'll be very interested to read the 2024 version and see, see what happens. But I can't fail to tell you this. Peter Ebdon, did you know? A keen singer, Peter entertained the crowd at this season's World Seniors Championship with a rendition of U2's With or Without You, and treated journalists at last season's China Open to Robbie Williams' Angels.
Oh, we have to try and find videos of these now.
Future cue the music's sorted.
God.
I'm seeing if there's any interest in Did You Knows about some of the other players. Oh, here we go. John Higgins, Did You Know? He appeared on Celebrity Mastermind last year and impressed by scoring 13 points on his specialist subject, the TV soap Dallas. John also caused much amusement by guessing that the type of coffee named after an order of friars founded in the 1520s was Nescafe. The correct answer was cappuccino.
Oh, I love that.
Just seeing if there's any more there, Tom, before it goes away again. Oh. Did you know about Marco Fu? In the Far East, Marco gets plenty of attention from the media and occasionally gets asked some bizarre questions. Perhaps the oddest was, Marco, has your phone been affected by the collapse of the stock exchange? It's a cracker.
Oh no. Was it Rob Walker who asked him that, by any chance?
There you go. It's the 2011 programme.
That was great. That was a fantastic pick, mate. I love that.
But well done on your 11 out of 16. That's very impressive. Very impressive.
It would have seemed much better if I'd got Hendry, but, generally I'm pretty happy about
Jamie
that.
Culp, that was... You pulled that one out of nowhere.
Please welcome a promising player on the verge of a place in the world's top 16. He knocked out UK champion Ding Junhui in round 1. The 2006 Grand Prix finalist, the 2007 China Open finalist, with 2 career 147s, he's the shotgun from Stoke, Jamie Coe.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Well, shall we wrap it up there, Joe?
I think so.
And we'll be back tomorrow with another episode, and we've got a very special cue to music coming tomorrow. So I want you to have a day, Joe, to prepare yourself, to think about what it could be. And it's going to be fun. Unlike anything we've ever had before.
Oh, God. Oh, dear. I mean, it could be absolutely anything. I mean, my prediction is possibly Rob Walker breakdancing on a table in a strip club called the Ford Escort.
How did you guess that?
I just know you, Tom. What can I say?
Well, that's tomorrow's big surprise ruined. For God's sake. Took ages getting Rob Walker to do that dance.
It's a cracker.
Right, I'll catch you tomorrow, Joe. And we should also say, because why not, if anyone here listening to this is a fan of tennis or tennis video games, Joe has just started a Let's Play series on the brand new Topspin game. So do check that out on his YouTube channel if that's the kind of thing you're into, because it's a big series for Joe and we want it to go very well so Joe can become a celebrity and get us to the Crucible.
Thank you, Hazel.
Right, and enjoy the snooker tonight, everyone, and we'll catch you tomorrow.